We need to talk about Cathie Wood's insane price target for Tesla and what actually goes into it. I respect Cathie, but some of these estimates are insane. Let's talk about Cathie's price target. Remember, coupon code expires at 11:59 p.m. tonight for the programs on Building Your Wealth. You want a custom bundle, email us at kevin@meetkevin.com. You can get lifetime access. You've got some of the most inexpensive ways to get lifetime access to all the content, data, daily course member live streams, and all the exclusive stuff course members get. You get lifetime access to this content linked down below. Check out once and you're done. If you want to bundle up, email us at kevin@meetkevin.com. All right, now we've got to cover what's the latest is with Tesla, including what Cathie Wood's price target is for Tesla. We also have to cover some information on price cuts. We got to talk about the Model Y, what just happened with the Model Y. We've also got to provide a Cybertruck update because there's a little bit of a Cybertruck update, and I have to say I'm not very enthused about what I just saw in the Cybertruck update. And I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. I don't necessarily think I am the bearer of bad news, but I'm the bearer of realistic news, okay? So we're going to do a little bit of chatting about that. So, well, let's get started. Also, I do want to say I've downloaded the latest update of full self-driving. Tesla, in the middle of last year, released that we have had 35 million miles of full self-driving miles already driven. I expect that number's probably already doubled by then, especially thanks to the wide release of FSD in December. And boy, oh boy, yesterday, with the latest update, even more improvements. It's taking roundabouts better. It still wants to crash at one particular on-ramp that I have to take over every time on. So it's still not happy about one area. There's one particular on-ramp that I have to take care of from downtown. Not that I go downtown for any particular reason ever. The City Hall's there. You gotta pull permits, of course. But anyway, there's this one particular on-ramp that's a little janky. But other than that, I generally have interventionless drives with this sucker. I used to have to take over in roundabouts, but I'm no longer having to take over in roundabouts. And it's doing better with incoming traffic in neighborhoods in turns, which is good. And it's also less finicky with people walking around. So I think that's very, very bullish for what we're seeing with FSD. Sawyer tweeted that a Ford is now bragging about how people have had 42 million miles driven here on FSG or their sort of blue cruise. Keep in mind, this is highway only. This is basically adaptive cruise control. This is like, this is not full self-driving. This is stupid. This is lame. If you do go to my Twitter profile, I encourage you to follow me because you could see me here paintballing with my shirt off. Here's me in a spa with my shirt off. If you want to see my hot dog, you can see my hot dog here as well. So just make sure you follow me at Real Meat Kevin on Twitter, and you get all the quality stuff there. So in terms of actual news, though, we do have a little bit of news regarding the Mexico facility as well. So I've been waiting for updates and a potential announcement on this. Bloomberg has provided a little bit of insight on this here. Tesla is expected to announce an investment in Mexico very soon as the country works to expand infrastructure and renewable energy supplies to take advantage of a boom in companies relocating, says the Mexican foreign minister. The Mexican government is working with Tesla, led by Elon Musk, to find a location that'll be appropriate. They've been targeting northeast Mexico, and there's a suggestion that potentially Tesla could announce very soon an up to $10 billion gigafactory in northeast Mexico, which would be relatively close to the gigafactory in Texas, except the average pay for worker would be about 1/4 as much. By the way, that's awesome. Thank you. Sebastian just sent me that Robinhood actually updated their interest rate yield to 4.15%. That's incredible. 4.15% on Robinhood. Hashtag not sponsored. Only sponsors we got here are courses and coupon codes that expire tonight. Symbolizing the course, okay, Mexico pledged to reduce carbon emissions, fine. Nearshoring spot, Mexico, particularly in northern states, is a favorite destination for companies that want to relocate operations from China closer to the United States through a process known as nearshoring. However, shortages of electricity supply, in particular from renewable resources, are one of the constraints that the country is trying to alleviate. That could actually be good for solar deployments, especially industrial-style solar deployments. There are companies that sell the steel frames, the motors that tilt solar panels. Obviously good for string inverter style companies when you start getting into sort of the industrial deployments of solar panels. So this gives us a little bit of an update here. Keep in mind that Northeast Mexico has a lot of vehicle manufacturers already. In fact, Mexico in general is a very large exporter of vehicles. You've got Mercedes assembling vans there, vehicles there, Sprinter vans. You've got GMs over there. A lot of vehicle companies assemble in Mexico, even the European ones. They'll send the parts over and assemble them in Mexico. So then let's go ahead and look at the Cybertruck update, and then I'd like to give you Cathie Wood's price target opinion while also giving you here an update on the Tesla Model Y. Apparently, the Tesla Model Y has just been delayed to potentially as far out as May for deliveries. This used to say February to March for deliveries, and now we're sitting at March to May for delivery. So you've got a little bit of a delay here on the Model Y. I personally believe if you're going to buy a Tesla, you should buy a Model Y. I think the S and X are a ripoff, but hey, you'll give Tesla more profit if you want to be stupid and buy that. That's fine. Do keep in mind, I am calling myself stupid as both a Tesla Model S and X owner. Yes, and I've never owned the Model Y. So take that for what it's worth. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't buy a plane. I just bought a plane. Anyway, okay. I'm going to now move on. So this is interesting. But what else is interesting is, where was it? There was, hold on a sec. We want to listen to Cathie's price target for Tesla. Yes, here we go. This was in a Spaces call. Apparently, our boy, not our boy, but Grant Cardone hosted this Spaces call. Let's go ahead and listen to this. I found it interesting what Cathie has to say, so let's give it a listen here.
Decision.
So I asked people before you came into the room, I said, look, if you won $1 million lottery, and part of the stipulation on the winning was you have 5 hours, you have to pick one stock, and you have to keep that one stock for 10 years. Otherwise, we're not going to give you the $1 million. What stock would you invest in?
Well, especially because of how much it's been pummeled recently. And we're known for this. I don't think it'll surprise if any of your listeners have heard of ARC. They've heard of Tesla, and I think Tesla. So to give you a sense of that, I think Tesla hit $180 today. We have put out on our website our Tesla model, and you can manipulate it if you'd like to see how we get to these numbers. But that $180, we believe, will in 5 years. Now, this is our research, and of course we could be wrong for compliance reasons. I have to say that. But our conviction is very high that $180, if you do hold it, don't trade it, will scale to $1,500 in our base case. It's actually a little north of that now. So almost
$1,500, almost 10x. When? Soon. Listen in.
Fold in 5 years. Why?
5 years, baby. 5 years. Now, a little aggressive, but then again, maybe I'm aggressive too, because I've got around a $500 price target in 2025, at the end of 2025, and that's in a mere 3 years. But look, if you can get to $500 in 3 years, and then 3x again 2 thereafter, Mama Cathie, I like the estimate. But could it potentially be unrealistic? It's going to really require a lot of FSD revenue, and I think it's a stretch to get to that level, especially since I think a lot of FSD revenue is going to turn into monthly payments rather than upfront revenues. And I think there's a good chance that those margins keep coming down at Tesla so that they can sell those vehicles and really incentivize people to get into FSD and make the margin there. Now, Cathie provides insights into this as well. I previously have mentioned that Tesla could potentially create a small 2-door tiny battery pack vehicle with a 20 kilowatt hour battery pack and 80-mile range, kind of like your daily commuter kind of vehicle, and sell it for potentially $20,000 at zero cost or maybe a slight profit. Or zero gross profit, I should say, and make money just off FSD. and they would still have somewhere around 30+% margins. It'd be incredible. The margins are phenomenal at Tesla. But listen to what Cathie has to say about the numbers. But yes, her price target is $1,500 in 5 years. Let's keep listening.
Why? Because electric vehicles have entered the sweet spot of their S-curve, and Tesla is leading the charge, so to speak. And just
that was good. I just got the pun. Sorry.
Charge.
So just to get to that $500 price target, I mean, to get to the electric vehicle part of the story, that's 500 of the 1,500. In order to get that other 1,000, you have to believe, as we do increasingly, that we are going to be, that Tesla is going to be in the lead, in the pole position, to become the autonomous taxi platform, at least in the United States. There are not going to be many winners here.
And I don't hear you. I don't hear you really talking about the electric aspect. I hear you talking about the autonomous. Are you saying that the Chevys and the Mercedes and the Audis that are coming on with electric, that Tesla's advantage is going to be the automation, or am I getting that wrong?
I think it's both. I think they're electric vehicles. If you want, for a given price, if you want the same performance as Tesla in terms of range, same range and same performance, another car company is probably going to have to lose money if they price their cars at Tesla's prices. And as you've probably heard recently,
she is right. Remember that. GM's actually got good margins overall. Ford loses money on electric vehicles. I'd like to get segment revenue from GM. And on top of that, you have companies like BYD in China who are very competitive, making just $1.40 on margin, where Tesla's making $13 to $17 on net margin. Net. It's insane. It's just, so Cathie's right. A lot of companies are probably going to get pushed into losses if they try to compete with Tesla. Do keep in mind that GM and Ford are saying that their vehicles are priced appropriately and they don't need to cut prices. Meanwhile, Ford just cut prices on the Mach-E. And on top of that, they're offering discounts like crazy, both at GM and Ford, and they expect those discounts to increase. So don't get confused by the MSRP bullcrap that car companies pull off.
Tesla is starting to use that learning curve and is starting to drive down prices again. It's going to be very difficult for other companies to keep up. So we do think they've got a very strong position on the electric vehicle side. But the autonomous platform, it will be more of a software as a service like model compared to an automotive model for the electric vehicle. So automotive gross margins are in the 25 to 30% range. The autonomous gross margins could be as high as 80%. So it's a much more decision.
Yeah, wow. So let's actually look at her document on this. So Monte Carlo simulation, by the way, is basically just taking inputs and then trying to figure out, okay, if we assume, 40,000 different scenarios, what are sort of the average outcomes? But it like the Monte Carlo simulation is only as good as your actual inputs. So it doesn't matter. Just don't get distracted by that. You got to look at the inputs. The inputs are what matter. So what are the inputs? Okay, well, in Cathie's 2025 bear case, she's at 5 million vehicles sold. I'm at 4. Average selling price of 45. I'm at 47, so that's pretty close. However, she does include a little bit of incremental, $23 billion of incremental insurance revenue. She includes $42 billion by 2025 of human-driven ride-hailing revenue. Zero autonomous. I mean, Tesla has not indicated any interest in getting into human-driven ride-hailing. So I'm a little confused by that, but whatever. Electric vehicle gross margin. I don't know how you can get to this number as your example bear case, but it ain't going to be 40%. I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but this is insane. Like, those are some really high numbers here. And so basically, she gets to the idea, okay, that $1,500 is reasonable. Okay, their 2020 number, there's no point to even look at 2020. I mean, we're looking at 500,000 vehicles sold. Her bull case scenario actually doubles the amount of vehicles, but drops the price to 36,000. This assumes the introduction of a lower revenue vehicle. But then in order to get these crazy price targets, we're assuming massive autonomous ride-hailing revenue by 2025 of $327 billion, which is almost as much money as the company would make selling 10 million vehicles at $36,000 a vehicle. These numbers, while they feel good, I think this is crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect Cathie. She's been called crazy many times. And she was right about her initial projections about Tesla's growth, at least her initial assumptions that it was a great investment. But then again, a lot of people made a great investment into Tesla and any time before the pandemic, or even when the pandemic started, including myself. But I think some of the numbers that are going into this projection are lofty. Assuming human-driven ride-hailing in excess of 20% of the total revenues for the company, I don't think so. Assuming a 40% gross margin, I don't think so. So I'm going to cut all of that in half and then take another $200 off, and I'm sticking with $500 by 2025 because I'm just going to assume half her bear case and then take another $200 off. And I still get to $500. So, all right, that gives you Tesla. A little Tesla update. Cathie POV. Love my Tesla, by the way. It is getting better every single day I drive it, which is quite remarkable. It's good news. I forgot to mention the crazy part about the Cybertruck, so here it is. This is the back of one of the latest versions of the Cybertruck, and they got rid of the cool light bar that goes all the way across the back. I hope the full light bar comes back. You can see both sides here. I don't know. Let me know what you think.